In this video I have a box of some junk, and it's Commodore, I won't say Commodore 64 junk, I think this might have been off a VIC-20, because I think that all the games and stuff are to do with that. We've got a Datasette, one of these old school Commodore power supplies. I believe these ones might have been a bit dodgy where something could fail in them. They might even be potted in there and they put out too high a voltage or something that can fry your computer. I've got to get rid of this stuff. It's been lying around for quite a while. We've got a pair of paddles, I think they called them. Is that for playing your Pong type games or something? I forgot how much junk was in here. Sargon. 2 chess, Star Battle, yeah, VIC 1902, is this a cartridge number? 1919. Cosmic Jailbreak, 1927. I had a feeling some of these were not in the best condition, but they actually don't look too bad. $1921, Super Smash. So these should at least be worth something to someone, I guess. A bit hard to test them without a computer though. Golf, 1923. Had a bit of use by the look of them. Clowns, 1931. So that's quite a few games. I did try and sell this at a bit of a swap meet we had for a different collector's thing, and no one was interested in it. That's all right. Better take my labels off. I had $10 each on them. Unfortunately, no VIC-20 collectors there, and this is a memory, is it? Yeah, AK RAM cartridge, a VIC 1110. Oh, they're in better condition than I thought. I had a feeling they had a bit of corrosion on them. And we have kitty checkers. That sounds a bit dodgy. Copyright 1981, Vic Soft. PA Box 251, Gosnell, Western Australia. Oh, made in WA. Colour computer software. We have Congo Kong for Commodore 64 and VIC-20. Standard memory joystick required. $14.95. Got the VIC-20 label on it. Victory software. PA, so it's probably American by the look of it. It does say, oh, it's an Aussie soft. Copyright 1983. It's got Baghdad written on the back of it. Turn off computer, unplug expansion memory, turn on computer, rewind tape, press shift run stop, press play on Datasette. For Commodore 64, press Commodore key when the program is found. Turn off computer before loading another program. If you have loading problems, try advancing the tape past the leader. Also move the tape deck as far away from your television as possible. Yeah, the Aussie soft for the little koala. So maybe it's an American piece of software, but they manufactured it locally. The good old days of loading off tape, that was fun. We used to have a Commodore 64. I think the neighbours had a VIC-20. A lot of people waited and paid a bit extra for the 64. Mole Attack Vic Soft. 1982. Another one from that company. Number Chaser. Loading 2.4 minutes. At least I think these are in half decent condition. That one's a bit dirty. Probably need a bit of a clean. But I guess these could probably have the software saved off them if they're still playable. Vic Trap. Someone's handwritten it in there pretty much. Hand typed it on the labels. Ooh, that's a bad sign if someone's got tape over it. I think that might have disappeared, whatever was on there. Or maybe they've used side B, Screen 40, Word Puzzles, Residences. So the fact they've covered both tabs. Screen 40. Yeah, so they made them so you could record on the other side by the look of that. That's got both tabs out. Someone's poked something in there. So whether any of these actually have any original software in, again, you'd have to hook them up to find out. We've got a original television modulator, 5-pin DIN to RF. Looks like it's switchable, so doesn't say channel 3401, something like that, and yeah, that's all there is on that one. So this doesn't, you've got to have the separate box to switch between TV antenna. Made for Australia and Taiwan by the look of it. Oh, and the other thing is an old Bakelite Singer sewing motor controller with a weird connector on it by the look of it. So I guess that probably should go to the tip shop or something, someone might be interested in that. And we've got Cosmic Jailbreak instructions. God, you don't see instructions very often. Just to the screen position. I don't know, you could center it with the cursor controls. Screen flutter. Hold down the shift key and hit the F7. Just a standard TV may cause the screen to flutter, so they've got some way of altering the image. Guard the prisoners on cosmic jail, scoring points by killing alien sources and space bugs. Aliens march from the sides of the screen to the jail in the centre. They remove one brick of march past the side with it. If all the bricks are eliminated, the prisoner is removed. If there are no bricks or prisoners on the row, the aliens will go down the next lower row where only one alien remaining. It will drop the next lower row until after it finishes each row. Sources are worth extra bugs. Prisoners. They're freed by aliens, so one of the laser bases is destroyed. Alien chorus line. So it sounds a bit like Space Invaders or something, but a bit different. Number chaser. Ugh, that's well and truly stuck together from age. So that's been damp. Is that just maybe it's just a single piece of paper anyway. It's been damp. I don't know. I don't know if that's meant to open or not. Let's have a look. I think there is a middle to it. Maybe nothing more than that. Oh yeah, there was something written in there. Well, I ain't got much to lose, but no, that isn't coming apart. That one's chucking out, I think. But I think it's probably time I got these on eBay or something. Got rid of these cartridges, even as untested. I wonder if it's worth having along the side. Made in Hong Kong. Yeah, all made in Hong Kong. Probably just a ROM in there, though. This would have something different. It's actually got dip switches. Not sure what they set. Without instructions, probably not a lot we can do with that. Don't know what these have inside. I guess we should have a look, because I can't remember what's actually inside these things. Is it just a switch that presses one way or the other? Made in Hong Kong. I don't think they might have had a pot in them. I can't remember. I don't know if I've even ever pulled one apart, but I'm sure we'd have a look at it. So there is a pot and a switch. Oh, yeah, it's just a pot that goes from one end to the other, standard pot. There you go. 500k ohm potentiometer. So I guess in theory they shouldn't be too hard to test them. If the cable's in good condition, they should technically be working. But the contacts may need a clean in the pot or something. Well, that's something you don't see inside every day. And these were never that popular when I was a kid. Everything was joystick mostly, but I think because these were for the earlier Pong, tennis, whatever type games, there might have even been a little project in Electronics Australia or something how to make your own of these, I think, because they weren't the cheapest things to buy if you bought the manufacturer's ones. And the plug was made in Taiwan. Now these, what have they got? 9 volt DC, oh sorry, 5 volt DC, 9 volt AC, that sounds familiar. If I can undo it. I think I already checked this that it does actually work, because I probably would have chucked it in the bin otherwise. assume it'd be the 2 pins on either side are probably... then again, they're not either side of the little piece, are they? Nothing there. Oh, we've got 5 volts. I've hooked up the wrong way, so AC should be 9 volts, AC roughly there. With no load on it, it's a bit higher, more like 10 volts. But I think if you're going to use one of these, you need to fit a Zener diode or something, and maybe a fuse, so if the 5 volt line goes high, I think something can short in them, and basically stick more like 9 volts into your 5 volt line of your computer, which will destroy who knows what. So I think these you really need to do some sort of voltage protection. I guess this modulator we could check out, although I've got to find out what the pinout is. That's pretty grotty on that plug. Looks a bit blackened by something. Something's been spilled in there, I think. But we could try that out. I mean, I guess all we've got to do is find out which 2 pins. We've also got video, audio, power, probably 5 volts. And that's about it. I guess might as well have a quick look on the inside. Make sure it looks in reasonable condition, besides some cobwebs. We've got V, A, B plus. There's only 3 and a ground cable used anyway by the look of it. It's a video, audio, B plus. All I've got to do is find out what voltage, probably 5 volts I assume comes out of the computer. But I think they do have the higher one derived from that 9 volts. So that's easy enough. That can be tested to see if it works. And quite handy to use for other things as well, potentially. And I have looked up a pinout on this. And I think it's just a 6 volt motor. There's 5 volts, which may only be to detect the switches pressed in play. You've got signal in, signal out, so play and record lines basically. And I think that's it, ground. There is a regulator of some sort in the computer. That's a 9 volt motor. Okay, it's a Sankyo Electric Taiwan. I think I already had a quick look inside this one to make sure it wasn't a Tanishan mech, which it isn't. I think there's a few chips or something on that board. But it does need checking to see if the belts... Yeah, well, look at that belt. That's as lumpy as it hasn't moved in decades by the look of it. It's got a permanent bulge in it. I'll just have a quick look at this thing. So this is, I think I'll give it a rebuilt. If it looks like the motor runs and everything, still not 100% sure if it's going to work, I guess, but at least it's been resurrected at least. And I guess I've got to press eject. Oh, it's got a separate eject button. Not in the best condition, this one. I think it's, yeah, something's eaten through the paint on it, so it needs respraying, which is a bit hard when you've got screen printing on it. So it's not a very good looking one. I guess it might be worth something to someone though. Yeah, mono head, erase head, not much else to it. Interesting little mech in it. I think they made 2 or 3 different versions of these things over the years. Made in Taiwan, Sankyo motor, and I don't think I've got a date anywhere. It's a Chira Manufacturing Co. Or is it Chiba? Chira or Chiba, one or the other. It is Chiba. C-H-I-B-A. Manufacturing Co. There we go, so at least we know what that is. It looks like they're pretty easy to change. I don't think you've even got to unscrew anything. Just got to lift that little lever. Oh, it just lifts on its own, easy enough. Let's get some dust out of there. So we've literally got to lift that up, take one belt off, and this one just comes out from around the outside. I mean, how simple is that? That's what you call a nice design. So I might as well put new belts in it. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't run besides that. We should be able to actually record and play on it. Just a matter of putting an audio signal in, I think. This electronics probably squares the signal up a bit or something. It wasn't really made for audio, but you could use audio cassette players. Little record playback switch in there, that might need a clean. Probably wouldn't hurt to give it a squirt of contact cleaner. So that's got another connector, something like the one that it uses, sticking at the other end of the board, interestingly. I wonder if that was probably for the factory, I guess. It'd be something like that. They probably on the production line, they just plugged into that connection. More than likely something like that, so they could just test it without the cable connected, do the basic whatever they had to do and go from there. See if I can find a couple of belts for this thing, and I might take that and give it a good clean out. Yeah, shame it's not in better condition. It will clean up better, but that pitting it's just eaten off the aluminium or whatever. Something's either been spilled on it or it's been in poor conditions. What is this? A C2N-B. So that's probably the model variant or whatever. So the capstan length is an 80 by 1.2 belt. Let's see if we can get this on easy. It's all good. It looks like a 46 by 1.2 should do the counter. I'm going to get that under this little lever. It's a little tight, a 46, maybe even a 49, but 46 or 49 should do it alright. Counter runs. Let's get rid of that belt. Give it a clean while it's in pieces. Cap's just nice and clean for a change. A little bit of muck on the pinch roller. But not the highest hours deck by the look of it. Yeah, I can't feel anywhere on the head. It does look slightly like there's a bit there, but so it's not too bad in bad a condition, that one. Just give the buttons a bit of a clean while I can get to them. Yeah, just play, hold the stop down. I should be able to do the pause. Is that the pause or is that the record? Yeah, clean the other side then. That must be the record there. Yeah, that all works. Get out of there, cord. Bit of grease there is not the best. A little bit of grease down there, a little bit there. Looks like the main points for grease. How's it there? There. Yeah, I should do that. And we should be able to pop this out, just pressing those little tabs. Give it a proper clean. Now I've got to get these upper clips on. Always a bit fiddly to try and hold them in place. It's got it, I think, and then yeah, just carefully push the two tabs so they go back in. Quite a knot in this thing. Cable's gone rather hard. Now, oh, the other thing I was going to check, I believe the voltage for this just goes straight into that motor. It may not be that simple. We've got a capacitor. This actually has some diodes and stuff, so probably should electrically check the cord, I guess. Looks to be in good condition, besides being a bit dirty. In theory, we should be able to just power up the motor and get this thing running and tap off some audio. Oh, I've got to be careful because there's a record playback switch here, needs to go on a little piece sticking up. So the power comes in here somewhere. I think it goes through a diode by the look of it to the motor. Yeah, we've got a switch on the orange and yellow wire there. Actually, it's not even a diode, it's just a ferrite, just a little ferrite bead on each wire, I think, just for noise suppression, which makes sense because this thing would probably be radiating digital noise from the computer otherwise all over the place. So it looks like it just comes down that lead, which is the red wire, to a ferrite, into the motor. We've got ground, possibly another ferrite or something there. I think it's got a little filter cap across it. And the rest of these, two of them should be signal in, signal out. And where did that switch go to? One of them is that, no, it must be the ground tab. That big pad, so I'm assuming that other pad is the other switch. That goes sort of ferrite to this third connector, which is the blue wire, I think. I can soon test it with the multimeter, I guess. And I'll screw this back in without the shielding. Yeah, do a record place, switch in place. And we should be able to do some basic tests on this thing and prove the majority of it's working. So these switch contacts, which one's play? That one? Yeah, it looks like they go to ground. I think they went to that one there. So if we put 9 volts in, we should be able to get this thing to run. There we go. That clip lead wasn't making a good connection. Put it back in play. take up. Fast forward. A little noisy on the rewind. Who's making that noise? So the motor's all functioning, a little noisy on that. I guess that pulley's just pulling across onto the idler. And the next question is, where do we get playback out? It must be one of these two. That's ground. So it is the white and brown wires. Big ground, that goes, that says ground. Well, oh, maybe that's just a signal code. It seems to be a second ground goes through a ferrite bead to the main ground, which is a bit weird. So maybe one's the shielding of the cable, one's a ground within, which again, why would you run an extra wire? It must be a reason. Maybe to keep the shielding and the noisy sort of shielding and the not so noisy earth for the cassette signal separate or something. What do we actually got inside these connectors? And can we use it to connect anything? Better check it's in good condition anyway. I've got more ferrite beads up this end. Not really anything easy. Oh, I guess we could poke an audio lead down in there somehow. I've got a shield here, we can probably connect it. That'll do for our earth. Oh, that's actually not connected to anything by the look of it. They've actually just put it in there. Yes, it's just a pigtail, so maybe that's just so it doesn't get an earth loop or anything going. And we need, was it white or brown, I think I said. I guess I'll see if I can connect. So well, we can just poke it onto either one. Nothing. Oh, I know what the problem is. I've got to put 5 volts in this thing, haven't I, to I've got to find which one of these, that's ground. One of these must be the 5 volts to power this thing, or does that go through the switch? I can't remember now. There's one, that goes to the switch, switch goes to ground, that's this line here. That must be our 5 volts. I think the green one must be our 5 volts. I can see a 47 microfarad to ground. Yeah, that would probably be it. So I need a separate power supply for this. Or I need to solder a regulator in there. So I'm just going to cheat and get a 7805 regulator and put it in there. This one and this one for the outer pins. And the ground we can't quite reach from where I am. I'm going to have to put a jumper wire on it, I think. Sometimes you get things in for repair that you didn't have all the equipment, so you just have to jury rig it a bit and DIY it somewhat. So that's in goes to the, what'll be 9 volts, out to the 5 volts. We just got to get a ground on this thing with a jumper wire. You can always get the trusty old 3-pin regulator, as long as it's got a couple of volts across it, because they do have a forward voltage drop, though they did make low dropout ones as well later on. Oh, these are basically 1970s technology, these ones. So they only need a minimum voltage between input and output. So that should do it. Fingers crossed we don't smoke everything. And that gives us a nice point to hook this up. And maybe we've got some sort of audio now coming out of which pins? Very. Whoa, that's high level and very distorted. But that's pretty much what a Datasette should be like. It shouldn't be audio quality, it should be much more fives and zeros kind of to be extracted from loud noises kind of quality. How do we, let's eject, let's try a record tape. Oh, of course I'm missing a bloody tab on one side. So I think the other one must be the record in. Can I get a line out? Oh, I can get the CD player running. So, let's reset the tape counter. Hit record. It's got a red light on, so that's a good sign the switch is working, and I think it goes in there. Now it's coming through for sure. It's actually going right through the unit. That's it, I think. Yeah, it sounds like that worked. Nothing. There it is. So it looks like that's recording. I mean, I don't know about the quality of it, but it's recording, so I think this thing's a goer. Should go back to the old recording. Oh, is that the bit? Yeah, it doesn't like working upside down very much. Don't think that door really holds closed the best, or was ever designed to. Let's remove our voltage regulator. I think we can call this thing at least tested. Be unlikely that it doesn't work. So I'll put our cover back on. Just being careful not to remove that record play switch when the board moves. Yeah, I always wondered what audio would sound like out of one of these things, and there you go, it's awful. Which was the general idea. I know Dick Smith made an aftermarket sort of computer orientated shoebox recorder thing, but I think it sounded bad, but nowhere near as bad as that. Like, it was not the best fidelity, maybe had a narrow sort of frequency response or something. Because we used to have one years ago, but now that's an interesting one. Let's put this thing back together. I think bottom's rather disgusting. You can see where the cord's been leaning against it, and maybe it's reacted with a bit of plastic or something. Don't know what's caused that to yellow, but I don't think it was the sun. I don't think this thing's seen the sun in quite a while, so maybe something it was packed with. But maybe it was getting some sun on it, who knows. But a bit of retro brighting might bring that back, but given the poor condition of this thing, aesthetically, this whole thing needs a respray or something. I guess someone should do one of these in a funky colour or something just to make it a bit different, because they were probably the blandest colour you could possibly make them out of the factory. And get rid of all our clip leads and put this thing back together. But yeah, there's a few times I've had to do things like that, with things just mess around and rig things up because you couldn't just run the unit on its own, and people didn't want to completely uninstall whatever it was that ran it or whatever, so sometimes you just had to come up with techniques to do these things. How do they slide in there? So it looks like we're going those flat bits, or the wider part down. I've got a captive nut in there. Probably should go this plug a bit of a clean, but I can do that once it's back together. So it looks half decent now. Could do a little bit more cleaning out there. Slight nick on the ends of the keys, but of course it's got all these other problems. So I'm not sure if they're really worth much, especially in this condition. I don't think they're worth a fortune, these things. But at least I can say this has had new belts. It's been sort of tested. It's not just a completely unknown piece of junk. I'll just have a quick look. Maybe just have a quick look inside these cartridges. Do these just come apart? Are they even easy to get apart? I assume we can clip something there. I would like to check out the condition inside. Looks like someone's had this apart and they've had something down in there. Is that what you do? Are there clips there somewhere? Can't see any really, but oh, there we go, something's happening. Yeah, it's a clip on the front face by the look of it. Oh, there we go. And some sort of pins at the front or something here. Ooh. That's our circuit board. Commodore, pin Q something. What do we got? MB 8416 ICs. 4 of. There's a little bit of white stuff on top of that. I'm not sure what that is. It rubs off by the look of it. Could do with that, the edge connector cleaning, I guess. A little bit off that contact. But it looks to be in generally good condition. Do the switches still work? Looks like they do. That's one thing to check, that they're not broken or anything or stuck. No, they all seem to be good. Let's see, they go through that window, so it must go back together that way. And the screw goes through the middle of the board. Oh, I see, there's clips there. Looks like there's some sort of clips at the front here that need to... One of them's missing on this one by the look of it. So that's probably not too bad. Can we clean that up a bit? Good idea, making it a different colour to the other ones, I guess. But yeah, a little bit of water or something's gone under the edges of that label. Looks like it's got a plastic coating on it, and that's actually some label glue or something there. At least that might come off. So not much we can do with that. I'll maybe see if we can get these others apart, just check, and they look to be okay on the edge connector, but I guess that doesn't mean a lot. Yes, there's 2 little pins under here, which we're going to have to be careful with. Is it easy to open it from the front? Ooh. Maybe. There we go. I gotta get right down in there, I think. Unfortunately, probably not going to do it without leaving some sort of mark behind. There we go. These should just be a little ROM. Type board. Commodore, made in Hong Kong. Elect 21092, whatever that means. Oh, that definitely needs a clean. There's a bit of this micro scrub stuff. It just seems to be the top side is particularly bad. It seems to be reasonably pitted. Or is it just a lot of black muck there? I'm not sure what is going on there. No, they're not pitted. Just left a lot of black marks on there for some reason. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. That almost needs a bit of brass or something on it. Oh, it's looking a lot better than it was. Yeah, quite a lot of black on the circuit board, but that doesn't matter. I guess I should have actually played one of these in the unit, shouldn't I? I didn't think of that. I should have actually played these cassettes in the cassette drive, the Datasette, to see what they sounded like. Hear the old faxing kind of sound that they used to make. At least we know there's something definitely on them then. I guess I can put them in a normal cassette player and give them a quick play. Of course, just out of one channel because it's only mono. No, it sounds alright. Whether it works is another thing. Let's try this Vic Trap. The fact it's got tape on it is not a good sign. That's the wrong side. That one seems to be silent, not far in, which is not a good sign. Yeah, it's gone quiet. Bit in the background maybe, so that could be legit, or it could be just it's actually someone's done something to it. I don't know how long that program will be, but usually longer than that. Ooh, not running the best. Okay, I think we'll consider that one maybe rubbish. Throw that in for free. List it as not working. We've got our, was it Congo Kong? Something on the other side. Oh, we're on the wrong side to start with. It's over there somewhere. There it is. So that's probably a goer, but a bit unknown. And this is Molar Tech Screen 40 or something written on the other side. I forget which one has a record tab overridden. So that's the end of that one. No, nothing on that side. So I guess for reliable loading they probably did them at a much higher level and stuff, and probably narrower frequency band, but that's what they sound like anyway. Most of those seem to be good, but whether you can actually load something off them, I don't know. Okay, got this modulator connected up. I've just soldered a wire on with a 6 volts that goes in, so these run off 6 according to the VIC-20 schematic diagram. I've soldered audio in, earth in the middle off a couple of old RCA leads, video into the other one. We've plugged in this little TV on VHFL. So I put 6 volts in on my little wire. Ground just goes to chassis. And turn the load on. And nothing's happening much. What's that? There's something, definitely something there. Oh. What? Oh yeah, there it is. Very poor quality. One thing I was going to check is the switch. Is that any... touch the switch. Or is it a lead? Something's... You can't trust anything on these things, but yeah, I think that switch might not be the best. What is it? Some weird plastic thing. Oh, it's a double. I think it's 2 switches. 2 little slide switches in there. Now I can't move it at all. Great. As often happens with these things. Well, that's looking better. There it is. It's a little noisy. And now it's going in. This switch is pretty well shot, I think. Now it's grainy. Now we've lost colour. Wow. It's pretty random. Might have to bypass this switch. Does this have a fine tuning lock? That probably doesn't help. Let's try the other position. Should be further up the van maybe. There we are. Yeah, that one locks in a bit better, I think. So this is why we've got to check these things. That one works. Yeah, the other one's a bit dicky. There's a little bit of... Yeah, that seems pretty solid on that, whatever one that is. Must be about 1, I think. It's must be 1 and 0. The 0 does not seem to work the best. Now, possibly, that's because I've got all this stuff hooked up to it and there's no shielding on it. That might have some effect on why that's grainy and horrible. Let's just put one cover back on it for a start. I mean, it's right next to the pattern generator and stuff, but no, it seems to be noisy on 0, and I have to disconnect everything. Now, I could hook it to get a DIN socket and do that way, but I don't have one convenient, so I think we'll call that a goer on one channel anyway. So that is a good working modulator. Not sure anyone wants one anymore. but it's pretty hardcore, old school to play your games on RF. None of this fancy RGB stuff. Do it the way we used to do it. On RF through your mum's television. Or if you're really lucky, you might have scored some old portable black and white or something. For the rumpus room or whatever. And that's about the best most people knew. And just make sure I resolder everything I fiddled with. Probably won't hurt to resolder a couple of these joints anyway. That was just the earth. But yeah, that seems to work. Just need the switch cleaning. I did give those covers a little bit of a clean. Looks a little bit better, but far from perfect. So we'll call this video finished on these ones. And yeah, probably get back to it sometime when I put them on eBay. So thanks for watching.